All right, please create a new notes page called Causes of the Great Depression and include today's date. And while you're taking notes or after you're taking notes, pull out the need to knows. And you should have a need to know for every uppercase letter, A, B, C, etc. So causes of the Great Depression. Cause number 1, the stock market crash. So stocks were artificially high, and this means a company's stock or the value of its product, let's say Hoover vacuums, is priced higher than what it was worth. So due to the belief or speculation that the company's product is in high demand. So if you are a Hoover vacuum company, the belief amongst the public is that Hoover vacuums are selling really well, and therefore it is worth buying stock in Hoover vacuums or the Hoover company. But the more people that buy, the higher the price of the stock. And it begins to get so high that it's not what it should be worth. So the bubble bursts. And this is, the price is regarded as too high, and this becomes a belief amongst all the people within the stock market who are buying and selling stock. They see that it's too high, artificially high, and it returns to its actual worth when investors begin to just sell or shed their stock. And it's done sometimes quite rapidly. And this causes the market to plummet if you're selling stock in a lot of big companies. So it leads to optimism turns into pessimism or being negative about the market. Cause number 2 is bank failures. So here's how banks make money. 2 ways. 1, banks invest in stocks. So the money that is deposited by customers is then taken out of that bank and put into the marketplace. Just like an individual would buy shares in a company, so do banks, and they buy large amounts. The other way banks make money is by giving out loans and collecting interest. So if you want a loan to, let's say, start a business and you want to take out a $50,000 loan, well, you're going to pay that $50,000 loan over time. And each payment you make is a little bit more than it actually should be because the bank is collecting the interest. So even though you took out a loan for $50,000, when it's all said and done, you might end up paying, let's just say, $60,000 because you paid over time and interest was collected. B, when the market crashes, 2 things happen. First, banks lose their investments and cannot pay out cash to depositors who wish to withdraw. So as the market goes down and crashes, well, all their money is tied up in the stock market. So they don't actually have the money in the bank to pay those people who want to withdraw their deposits. Second, people cannot pay their loans, and banks lose that influx of money. So when the market crashes, people that are either unemployed or soon to be unemployed can't pay off the loans that they took out. And therefore, the banks aren't making any money. They're not making money off their investments in the stock market. They're not making their money off the loans being paid back. So this causes a bank run. And that's when the market crashes, people do not have confidence in the banks. So they want to get their money out of the banks. So people with money deposited in the banks want to withdraw. And they do this just in waves. It's not like they all run to the bank. It just means that kind of word gets around that you should go and take your money out of the bank. And the banks do not have the people's savings to pay people back when the bank run occurs. So the banks are at a total loss. Their money is either tied up in the stock market or it is tied up in bad loans to people that just can't pay them off. And so you see the cycle continues because now those people can't take out the savings to pay those loans. Cause number 3, manufacturing producers fail. So economy is good at one time during the 1920s, and people are purchasing goods. Companies take out loans to meet high demands. So companies are like, whoa, things are going well, so let's take out a loan so we can produce even more product and hire more people to produce that product. Well, factories start to create also a surplus to meet the demands they think will continue to go up. So instead of creating 100 Hoover vacuums, the next year they'll create 200, making 100 surplus of vacuums, thinking that people will buy it because they have confidence. Well, prices go down to sell off the surplus. So when the economy starts to shift and change, and that surplus is sitting there on the shelves in stores, well, in order to sell that surplus or the extra, is they have to have prices go down or have a sale. Well, as a result, companies are not making as much money as they used to make. And so they need loans now to cover that. So now companies need loans to survive, pay their workers, their bills, etc. And they can't pay back those loans to the banks either. So it's not just individuals who can't pay off their loans, it's also big companies that can't pay off their loans. Cause number 4, agricultural producers fail. So farmers are in debt. So they take out loans, and farmers rely on loans to buy equipment and machinery to produce crops. Like manufacturers and factories, farmers are also creating a surplus. So farmers are producing more crops than people can buy. So they have a surplus, thinking people will buy it at some point. But when the market turns, they have to have prices for agricultural goods go in decline. They have to sell for cheaper, and therefore they're losing money. So farmers cannot sell crops and therefore cannot pay debts. Many lose their farms. So it's happening in the big businesses and factories, in urban settings, and also agricultural settings and rural settings. So agricultural producers fail continued. Or in letter B, the Dust Bowl. So soil erosion is the main cause. Very little rain leads to soil erosion. Also, land overuse. For 4 generations, growing the same thing is going to sap the nutrients from the soil and turn it into sand. And moreover, there's high winds, and that high winds blows off that topsoil that normally you would use to grow crops in. So this destroys the soil. You can't grow anything in it. As a result, crops fail to grow. And people who have a job connected to agriculture are either out of work or encountering hard times. And 1 out of every 5 people in America at this time, late 1920s, had a job in agriculture. And finally, we have the cycle of depression. So we're going to start here. People do not have money. People do not buy products because they don't have money. Factories lose money because people are not buying their products. Factories lay people off to save money. People are then out of work. People cannot pay off loans or buy more products, and the cycle goes on and on. So you will see that during the New Deal, which is an attempt to end the Great Depression, the president is trying to break this cycle of depression. All right, thank you.